Hey everyone, so today we're jumping into one of the most incredible, most pivotal scenes in all of Shakespeare. Act 1, Scene 4 of Romeo and Juliet. This is the moment right before Romeo meets Juliet. And man, does it set the stage for everything that's about to go down. It's basically a huge clash of ideas about love, dreams, and fate.
And really, the whole scene comes down to this one question. You've got the fiery, cynical Mercutio on one side, and then the lovesick, totally philosophical Romeo on the other. Their debate creates this incredible tension between what we want and what we're afraid is destined to happen. It really gets you thinking and sets the tone for the whole tragedy.
Okay, so the scene kicks off with Romeo, his cousin Benvolio, and his best friend Mercutio. They're all masked up, on their way to crash a party at the Capulets' place. You know, they're sworn enemies. But there's a big problem. Romeo is in absolutely no mood to party. He is dragging his feet big time and holding everyone up.
This line right here, it just perfectly nails Romeo's whole vibe. He's moping about his unrequited love for a girl named Rosalind, and he feels literally weighed down by sadness. His friends have dancing shoes, right? But Romeo feels like his very soul is made of lead, pinning him to the ground. He's not there to dance, he's just going to be a candle holder, basically a wallflower.
So this gloomy mood is what kicks off this big debate between Romeo and Mercutio, and it reveals two completely opposite ways of looking at love. Is it this heavy burden that just crushes you, or is it a force that you can actually fight back against?
For Romeo, love is all about pain. He sees it as this aggressive, wounding thing. It's like he's been hit by Cupid's arrow, and now he's just sinking under love's heavy burden. For him, it's a deep, spiritual wound that he just has to endure.
But Mercutio, he has zero patience for Romeo's moping. His response is immediate, it's aggressive. His advice is basically, fight back. If love is hurting you, you hurt it right back. He doesn't see love as some emotional weight. He sees it as a physical fight to be won. It's a really practical, almost brutal way of looking at it.
And that's really the core difference between these two friends. Romeo is the romantic, the idealist, who feels love as this all-consuming emotional thing. Mercutio, on the other hand, is the cynical realist. For him, love is a physical game, and you play to win. This disagreement is what fuels the whole first half of the scene.
And then the whole conversation just pivots on a dime. Romeo explains why he doesn't want to go to the party. He says, "I dreamed a dream tonight." He thinks his dream was a bad omen, some kind of message. And that one little line? That's all it takes to launch Mercutio into one of the most famous speeches in the entire play.
So, in response to Romeo's serious talk about a meaningful dream, Mercutio just unleashes this unbelievable fantasy about a character called Queen Mab. He's totally mocking Romeo, trying to prove that dreams are just tiny, meaningless things made up by a mischievous little fairy.
So who is this Queen Mab? Well, according to Mercutio, she's this teeny tiny fairy. Kind of like a midwife for our dreams. She delivers fantasies to people while they sleep. But here's the catch. These aren't prophecies from the heavens, nope. They're just reflections of our own thoughts and our own petty desires.
And Mercutio's imagination just runs absolutely wild describing her chariot. It's made of all these tiny, discarded bits of nature. You've got wagon spokes made of spider legs, a cover made of grasshopper wings, and a whip made of cricket bone. The detail is incredible, but it's also meant to sound kind of absurd, right? He's shrinking this grand idea of dreams into something impossibly small.
And the dreams she delivers? Oh, they are perfectly tailored to each person. Lovers dream of love. Lawyers dream of getting paid. A parson dreams of a bigger salary. Mercutio's point here is crystal clear. Dreams are not messages from the universe. They're just the children of an idle brain, born from our own selfishness and ambition.
But just as this speech gets to its most fantastical, whimsical point, the tone shifts, and it shifts dramatically. The fantasy starts to unravel and reveals something much, much darker and more violent underneath.
He starts describing her punishing women for eating sweets, and then, even more chillingly, driving a soldier to dream about violence and war. The dream is so real it actually wakes the soldier up, but he just says a quick prayer and goes right back to sleep. What Mercutio is getting at is that dreams aren't just about vanity. They can also come from our deepest, most violent instincts.
At this point, Mercutio is just spiraling, and Romeo has finally had enough. He cuts him off sharp. "Thou talk'st of nothing." And with that one line, Romeo completely shatters the fantasy, and Mercutio actually agrees, admitting dreams are just vain fantasy, as thin as air.
All that manic energy is just gone, and the mood turns heavy once again. And that brings us to the scene's really heavy conclusion. Mercutio's cynical rant has been silenced, and now Romeo comes back to his original point, his dream, and he reveals what's really been bothering him this whole time. This right here, this is the moment the entire scene has been building to. Romeo voices this powerful, dark premonition. He's afraid that going to this party tonight is going to kick off a terrible chain of events, something guided by fate, by the stars, that will eventually lead to his own untimely death.
I mean, it doesn't get much more direct than that, does it? This is one of the most chilling, in-your-face moments of foreshadowing in the entire play. Shakespeare is basically screaming at the audience, pay attention. Everything is about to go terribly wrong, and it all starts tonight. Romeo feels it, and we know he's right.
And yet, and this is the craziest part, despite this horrible feeling, Romeo decides to go to the party anyway. He just throws his hands up and surrenders to fate. And that leaves us with the ultimate question for the rest of the play, right? Is Romeo just a victim of a destiny that's already written in the stars, or does he seal his own fate the moment he chooses to walk through that door?